Finally, PPP has come to mark no true seekers.
Thank you very much
tonight. Huge support in chat. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about a dirty, disgusting, filthy, begging, boring, bum pig. That is Dark Side Phil. Now, folks, when it comes to calling Cat fat cat, I was under the impression amongst fat people, amongst fellow people of calories, that fat was our word.
Yeah.
I thought I had a right to use that word. And it's not just a right that I was given by birth. I earned that right to call people fat every fucking day when I stuff my blowhole with 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, sometimes 7,000 calories, if not more a day. I work at it. I work at maintaining calling people fat, my fat card, okay?
Yeah.
I'm fat, damn it. So I don't really know how, like, a 400-pound fat fuck calling somebody fat can be taken so seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, you called somebody fat. How about you call me fat back, you pussy bitch?
I know. Why didn't he respond? You know, like.
Well, this is the thing. It gets to a certain point where you just have this pathetic fucking worm, this spineless jellyfish loser fucking.
Pete, we're on YouTube, dude. Watch those F-bombs.
Rolls on his belly like a swine in the dirt and the muck, lets me kick fucking sand in his face.
All right, I give up. You can curse all you want.
On the fucking beach there, bitch. Like, this guy, let me call him a liar, a grifter, a scam artist,
a scumbag,
man, a whore, a prostitute. Like, he let me go out. Like, it's okay. At what point are you going to start fighting back? At what point are you going to be a man? At what point are we going to have a back and forth that fucking entertains people? You know what I mean?
You know, and he doesn't understand the busting balls. It's like me busting balls. Remember when I was busting balls on Worski, I was saying that his gaming streams were boring. I was just busting his balls. I have genuine affection for Worski. I wasn't being serious. I was busting his balls. Like, he's not a man. He's like a gay man. He doesn't understand men busting balls.
Well,
you were just busting his balls.
Back and forth, whatever. Yeah. But ultimately, I'm just testing him to see where he's at as a man, to see where the resistance is at. Where does it stop? It never stopped. I could have come into his house and fucked his wife. And I could have ate the food from his fucking fridge. Well, fuck his wife and slap his cat's son around.
Yeah.
Fucker, as long as he was getting paid money.
He would let it happen.
He doesn't give a shit about anything other than money and his ego. And the only reason he started getting upset about any of this shit was because he felt like it was giving the detractors a W. This is what it is. It's his, like, sick fucking mental fixation on the detractors. He must constantly be.
He didn't care about you. He didn't care about anything you said until the detractors started going after him. Like, why aren't you defending your wife like a man would?
Well,
or a man should.
The thing that comes down to it is it wasn't his instinct to defend his wife. Now, they're saying my mic is really, really low. Is there any way
I can fix it?
Crank it up?
Yeah, I'll crank it up. 1 second.
Okay. Test.
All right, we got it.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is it good?
It should be. Yeah.
So I'm talking all this fucking shit multiple times on my stream, on his stream, saying all sorts of shit about his wife, about everything. And he never said a fucking thing. Most people's first instinct.
Yeah.
You go after your wife, they say, fuck you, bitch. Let's fucking square up and fight. Fuck you. You can't say that shit. And they fucking check you.
Yeah, I would.
No,
if you.
He has no instinct whatsoever to defend his wife or care for his wife. The only reason he now suddenly has found this conscience for his wife is because the people that hate him the most told him he should. Not because he actually gives a fuck about his wife. If he actually cared about and honored and cherished his wife, I would have honored his ultimatum. But I know it comes from a place of disingenuous fucking bullshit.
You're right.
I know he doesn't actually care about his wife, because if he did, his wife wouldn't be in the condition she fucking is in. Let's be real. Phil
kind of wrecked her.
Let's talk about this, right? Because it's kind of distasteful to talk about people's wives, right? Like, it's not really like polite or nice.
I agree.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Dark Side Phil is no fucking babe in the woods. When Dark
Right.
Side Phil put Cat on stream, this wasn't 2012 Phil, 2013 Phil, 2014, 2015, 2016 Phil. This was like 2023, 2024 Dark Side Phil.
Yeah,
He
recent.
knew what sort of audience he had. He knew right well that when the detractors saw his wife, what they would say, how they would mock her, how they would shit on her, how they would cripple her self-esteem and confidence with what they said. And he did it anyway. He exposed his wife to all of that anyway, knowing what would happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fucking scumbag move, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and it really seemed like it was like, look, I have a woman. You know, it seemed like he was bragging. Like the only reason he put her there is so he could prove he had a woman.
How he introduced it, it's beyond even that. How he introduced it was to say, we have an announcement, and it's not that she's pregnant. Poking fun at his own wife's weight gain, hurting his own wife's self-esteem and self-respect. Why? So he could more easily control her. So she would be put in her place easier, so that she would have no options. This is a man who orders DoorDash 7 days a week.
It's 7 days a week, really?
Every day, this motherfucker is door dashing.
Yeah, so that's what his viewers are paying for him to live in Who does he think he is? The Kardashians? They order food every day, but like they're millionaires, you know, like they can afford it.
And I'll tell you this, it's not just the DoorDash. I've seen what's in his refrigerator. He has something called the snack pizza.
Snack pizza?
It's
Sounds
an
good.
entire fucking frozen pizza that's apparently a snack.
That's a snack?
I'm 400 fucking pounds. I don't even call a pizza a fucking snack, for God's sake.
Oh, God, you're right.
It's fucking ridiculous. What are you talking about, man? And now, so this whole thing, right, is about how he has to protect his wife. I have to protect my wife. I have to protect my wife. I have to protect my family. I have to protect my family. Ooh, what's going to happen? It's hurting my family. It's hurting their feelings. What does he do today to protect his fat wife from being called fat by a fat man? He decides to reveal her medical info.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Today.
Yeah, I was shocked. Why would you do that?
Is that what's keeping your wife safe? Is that what's keeping your family safe? Or is that what you're doing, using your wife as a human shield, using her as a sympathy shield?
Yeah, get more donors.
Criticism, yes. To get pity donations, to get pity support, to make himself the victim. Oh, woe is Phil. Phil has a hard time. His wife is sick. Well, she's 300 goddamn pounds. Of course she's fucking sick.
Christ. Yeah,
you think I'm fucking healthy, for fuck's sake? No. We have to live in the fucking real world and be objective about shit. It's not a healthy or mature or adult lifestyle the way that Phil's living or Kat's living or even I'm living, for God's fucking sakes. And I know that because I fucking live that shit because I'm a big fat fuck. It's not easy being a big fat fuck. But I have a right to call her a big fat fuck because I am one. And I know firsthand.
It's like the N-word. That's what I thought. It's like the N-word.
Air travel, 2 seats, PPP, for fuck's sake. It's 2 seats, Cat also. So to me, it's just a bit fucking rich. And I'll say this. When it came face to face, man to man, this pussy, dickless worm didn't say a motherfucking
Yeah, he didn't
word.
say it to your face. He had a chance last week.
And when it came today, I said, come on then, bring me on. He could still bring me on in 48 minutes and have a chat about this. But he's a ballless bitch because he knows he can't stand like a fucking man. He can't have a confrontation. He can't have an argument because he knows he'll get blown out like the worthless bitch pussy that he fucking is. And that's just the bottom line because PPP said so. To quote the smart guys. And it's Hollywood PPP now. Look at this show. It's what? 8 times bigger in terms of viewership than Smart Guys was. You know, donations are
10 times.
In.
Yeah.
You guys are being incredibly generous. Steve doesn't have to get on his knees. Please, guys.
I need grocery money.
I have to eat lunch meat sandwiches like a peasant, like a plebeian.
And I'm eating Girl Scout cookies for free. It's not a goal. I'm just eating them. Yeah.
$1,500 to eat fucking Girl Scout cookies?
I'm eating them for free. Yeah.
How about Phil do a reward people would be interested in? And this is part of the problem with Phil, is he's just a boring fucking bum. He's not willing to ever give back to the audience. He takes and takes and takes and takes and takes. It's not just the audience. It's his family. It's his parents that he takes and takes and takes.
Yeah, he took money from them and he promised to get a job.
Wife that he takes and takes and takes from.
He treats her like a maid. He doesn't treat her like a wife. He treats her like a live-in maid.
It's just a trophy for him to show off his mature adult lifestyle.
Yo, Pete, you're not married, but like, listen, I'm married. If I ever went on stream and complained about a meal my wife made, she would murder me. But that's, like, he complained that she made meals that were inedible, so he had to order food or something.
Lie. He's so comfortable. He's comfortable lying about everything else. He's comfortable about lying about WWE champions and spending tens of thousands of dollars a month while his wife goes without a fucking honeymoon, while his wife goes without a fucking day of vacation, while his wife works part-time at fucking Best Buy, but he talks about how he loves his fucking wife. Give me a fucking break.
You're right.
And you know what? I care more about Phil's life than he fucking does.
You're trying to help him, yeah.
He doesn't have any passion. He doesn't have any soul in his fucking body. He's a hollowed out husk of a fucking man that let me walk all over him. A 400-pound lesbian fucking tranny looking bum walked all over internet legend Darkside Phil, pissed in his mouth. He swallowed and said, "Thank you, sir. May I have
another?" Yeah.
May I have another?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's a disgrace. He's a fucking joke. Unbelievable.
It is. It's let me ask you too, like, what was it like having to work with him? Because I know I heard some stuff, like, for those unaware, like, everything was a negotiation and an endless, like, if it was me, P, and you said, let's try this on the show, and you were doing a show, I'd say, sure, because what you're doing works. Why would you say no to a guy who's successful at content creation and not agree to do things? You're trying to get him to do better. You're trying to help him.
Well, this is the thing. I'm just trying to make a show that's not fucking boring. That's not fucking garbage. Like every fucking show this guy has done or ever has done throughout his entire fucking career, it's been nothing but the lowest effort slog.
Low effort, yeah.
I used to think, oh, there must have been a golden age of Phil.
No, go back. They were all shitty. They were all shitty.
There must have been a time. There must have been a time where he really did try and he had passion and he was grateful for his support and he didn't take it for granted. No, he always sucks. He sucks from the first show. Yeah. From the very first show that he did. Just lucky to be early. He wasn't good. He was early. That's it. He was early and he gained a big advantage by being early. And this man has made millions of dollars and he squandered. Where does it all go if he's made millions? Well, we know where it went. It goes to Gin, it goes to DoorDash, goes to WWE champions, and it goes to shitty red, green, and blue lights in the background. And this is where it's just really pathetic. Is what I did. I have good red, green, and blue lights. I'm just saying. I brought Phil in, and I gave him an audience of thousands. A huge opportunity. Thousands of live viewers and tens of thousands of replay viewers. Massive, massive promotional push behind him. I got him an interview with Josh Moon. We did the Review Tech USA stuff. This guy had tens of thousands of dollars flooding in when he was at his lowest financial. You helped him when he was ready to fucking die. The estimates are about $40,000 to $50,000. That's what he made from your relationship. Wow. Yeah, and I was telling my audience, like, I appreciate so much what you and Andy did for me. Like, it's life changing when a big show like these guys comes and says, "We're going to put you in front of our audience. Bring us good stuff. Bring us good content." It was life-changing for me. Completely life-changing. He didn't appreciate it. I was getting pissed. But here's what I want to say. The guy could have got a dishwasher for his wife. Yeah. The guy could have fixed his toilet, which doesn't work. The guy could have fixed his shower. What's he doing, shitting in a bucket or something? And fucking filthy. Well, one of his toilets is on the fritz. But instead of renovating his home, his largest asset, where he lives, where he sleeps, where he eats, where he shits, where he showers, and where he shaves, this fucking idiot threw all of the money on upgrades to a setup that were completely unnecessary. Flashy gimmicks that he didn't fucking need, that didn't lead to any more viewership. I don't even think he spent that much money. Those lights aren't that expensive, and neither are the cameras he bought or anything that he bought. It all went to Hogan pulls on WWE champions. He wasted it. He wasted the money. Went to Amazon, knickknacks and doodads and fucking bullshit, instead of going to things that actually could have tangibly improved his life or his wife's life. Yeah. Which is apparently what this is all about. But we know that it's not actually about that. We know what it's really about, which is that last week on Smart Guys,
that was the trigger.
I dared to actually be his friend.
That's what I said. Yeah.
I dared to speak out and actually tell him hard truths that he needed to hear about how he's streaming, how his life is, how it's unsustainable, how he needs to make changes, he needs to do something else. Because
do something new, yeah.
What he's doing is not working. He is living at the mercy of 2 or 3 mentally ill, weirdo fucking whales that float his boat, that force him to bend the knee and submit to them. They tell him what to do. He's not the captain of his own fate. He's not the master of his soul.
He acts like he is. Yeah.
He claims that on level 1, he's his own boss and he runs the show, and it's not Keemstar telling him what to do, or it's not PPP telling him what to do, but it's worse. It's worse. It's these weird, nameless fucking psychopaths that dangle his ability to live above his head and force him to beg on his hands and knees like a fucking animal. And he's so fucking run down and ragged and pathetic that he doesn't even realize that the first principle of this stuff is to entertain. He just thinks, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to show up with my fucking tin cup.
Play Ninja Turtles.
I'm going to talk in circles, and the show is going to be a fucking business meeting every fucking show. Every fucking show, it's a business meeting. Guys, I didn't get enough support. We got to hit the targets. The guy sounds like a retail middle manager. He sounds like
a telemarketer or like an infomercial guy. Yeah,
assistant manager.
Pick up the phone right now. Operators are standing by.
3 more revenue generating units this week so that we can hit the goal towards Q2. It's like
it's very off-putting what he does.
Yeah, like how any other live stream operates on the face of the fucking earth. Normally,
ask for support once or twice.
That's not even
about 4 or 5 times.
Like support. It's just pathetic because the entire show revolves around the support. There's nothing else going on other than enriching him with money. There is no content.
You're right. He has nothing.
The thing is, this is a guy who talks and he has nothing to say. Nothing to say. There's no points that he ever makes where you go, oh, that was a good take. Oh, didn't hear that one before.
Yeah, I never told you. I never told you.
Informational.
I never told you, but remember, I came on Kino and I didn't know that you had started a show with him. And then so I started shitting on him, and then you guys did too. But I never told you. But like when I found out that you started a show with him, I was like, God damn, I was like a month late. Like I could have got that opportunity instead of this loser. And I was honestly jealous. I was like, this prick is talentless. Like he doesn't deserve the opportunities that you gave him. And then he squandered all that promotion, tens of thousands of viewers on him. He could have done something great. He wasn't ready to be great. He never will be.
Let me tell you the worst part about working with Phil.
Yeah.
And it's not that he's like a total charisma vacuum, boring, terrible on-air personality, because I could carry that bitch. You know, when we did Smart Guys, they looked it up, the stats. I would talk 75% of the show.
Yeah.
He would talk 25% of the show or less.
He was a bad Ed McMahon.
Let me sit here and nod along. I'm going to nod along. And then he would just repeat the exact same takes that I would say, or slightly rephrase what I would say, because he sucks and he's talentless. He has no creativity. He has no original opinions of his own. That's bad enough. But the real problem with Phil is the behind the scenes. It's the autistic adherence to the schedule, the most sacred schedule, having to negotiate every single appearance, every single thing, running everything by him. Normally with a streamer like today, you DM me, hey, can you come on? Absolutely.
We didn't game plan or plan anything. We don't need to.
3 or 4 days of schmoozing back and forth in DMs, you know, oh, how is this going to work out? Talking about every single aspect of a live stream. How is it going to play out? But it's beyond even that. Like, that's draining. That's exhausting. You have to treat him like a king.
He's very needy. Yeah.
Princess I am.
Super needy.
It's every day at 4 a.m. This guy gets drunk as fuck on gin.
Ooh, wow, really?
I don't know if he's next to his wife in bed while she's sleeping after her hard day of working fucking retail and then cooking for him and cleaning for him and picking up after him. I don't know if he's in bed next to her or where he is, but he's drunk as a fucking skunk off gin, doing WWE champions polls, messaging me all sorts of sad shit about his life, about how this isn't going right, that's not going right, feel bad for me, what can you do for me, me.
He's a taker. He's a taker. He doesn't reciprocate.
Can you book these guests for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And then when it comes time for him to do his part, when it comes time for me to go, hey, man, this is a huge opportunity. How about you do this lie detector test with Steve?
I would have done it.
massive amounts of
We would have
money.
broken the internet with that.
Well, it's a huge spectacle. It
Yeah.
goes viral. People wanted to see that. Not everybody wanted to see it, but enough people wanted to see it where it would be compelling and captivating to see. Would Phil pass the lie detector test?
Yeah, and by the way, Pete, let me just interrupt you. Pete, when he found out that I had a polygraph, he said, let me arrange this. And P was going to pay for the plane tickets, the hotel, everything. And I agreed. Like I said, I'm down. I'll get there. I don't want to take an 8-hour flight to Washington State, but I'll do it because P asked me to. I said, absolutely. Me and P were completely down with the plan. We were ready to do it. Phil fucked the pooch. He fucked the whole thing up. He fucked the whole thing up. We could have all made some money. It would have been great.
It would have been huge content. And there were a bunch of things that we could have done with Phil versus Steve, crossovers, collaborations. I talked about potentially doing, paranormal investigations with him, UFO type shows, all sorts of things I've pitched to this guy. I've pitched him debate shows.
He said no to everything, didn't he?
Everything.
What exhausting dealing with this guy.
And it's like, okay, come up with a new idea. Then I come up with a new idea. I pitch it to him. He has objection. I overcome then it's another objection. It's always for him a reason to say no. But you know what? I come from sales and I'm persistent as fuck. And most people would give up. And everybody else has given up on Phil and working with Phil. But I'm like, fuck it. I'm soldiering on no matter how draining this is.
Yeah.
No matter how exhausting this is. I'm like, you know what? There's something here. And by the way, a lot of it is sunk cost fallacy because I went through a lot of shit with the detractors, and perhaps rightfully so, because propping up this fucking pig was a total fucking mistake, total waste of resources, total waste of time.
Well, the detractors were right about it then.
But I had my donators doxxed. I had my editor, his kids were threatened in DMs.
Jesus Christ.
All sorts of crazy shit that I went through just to have this relationship with Phil. And I just kept giving and giving and giving. Just like the dents that give Phil money, except it was my time, my creativity, my effort, my charisma, my show ideas, and he just take, and he just take, and he just take. Then when we bring him on my show, he's low energy. He seems like he might be drunk or strung out. He never has anything to say.
Well, remember, he's a former alcoholic.
Former alcoholic that's taking shot after shot after shot after shot after shot without feeling it.
On stream. Yeah. I saw some of those clips.
It's some nasty fucking shit.
Yeah. And he was just, yeah. And listen, I have my own struggles with alcohol, and I can tell you, having observed him, I think that he did several of those Smart shows very hungover because he's super low energy. Like he's got a headache and beat up looking. Like for all you know, he was drinking until 8 o'clock in the morning, and then he gets up to do the show with you, and you have to carry him. That's not fair. He talked 10% of the time, 20% of the time. You carried the whole show, and then he cut you out like a snake. He thinks he's going to do fine and keep the money. Keep all the money now.
Listen, this is where I'm at with it. I just want to remind people from the beginning, I didn't come to Phil and ask him to do content with me. Phil came to me and asked me to do content with him. And Phil asked me to do drama content with him about Review Tech USA. And Phil will tell you, I'm not about drama. I'm not about stepping.
Those are his highest viewed streams.
I'm not about feuding with people, this or that. Let me tell you something. When Phil got the casino bump and the casino boost, Darkside Phil tried desperately to do drama. He tried to do.
It sucks. He can't do it. He can't do it because he sucks.
With Cog, with Ethan Ralph, with the whole Rogues Gallery. He tried to battle with the DSP, and he sucked, and he struck out every fucking time. It gained no traction.
He squandered the opportunity you gave him.
It was a total embarrassment. He was a total fucking choke artist. He talks about, I would never do drama because I'm a good and moral person.
Yeah, bullshit. And you know what, P, I kind of thought and I'll tell you this honestly, when you gave me the opportunity, I had been grinding in the shadows for 3 or 4 years, and I developed pretty good persona to do shows. Like I was ready for the opportunity you gave me, but I still worried. I was like, holy shit, this is such a huge opportunity. I can't fuck this up. And so I put my foot on the gas as soon as you gave me that opportunity. And you'll notice I improved my show, my graphics, the music. I leveled up everything because you gave me that opportunity, and I didn't want to waste it or squander it. He squandered it. He fucked the pooch on the whole thing.
Well, so here's where I'm going with this. Now, again, people are saying that your audio's too high, my audio's too low. Still.
Let me see to adjust it.
Let's try and fix this before I continue on with this train of thought.
I got you cranked as high as I can get you. You might have to, can you raise your level on your computer? Go to sound settings and raise it, and I'll lower mine. I'll lower my mic.
Is that any better? Test,
Yeah.
test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
That's much louder, I think. Yeah.
Is it much louder? Test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's better. Okay. So this is the point I want to make to people. Every single thing that Darkside Phil for years that he had been telling his audience that he wasn't about. He wasn't about drama anymore. He wasn't about begging anymore. He was a family man. He wasn't about doing clout. He didn't do politics or any sort of political grift. Every single thing that Phil sold himself on during the course of the Keno Casino arc, he sold his soul to me. He absolutely sold out every single principle that he ever claimed to stand for, starting with drama and then moving into politics. He did the political grift, trying to chase my audience and chase my donors, and he fucking failed. And bit by bit, we took Darkside Phil's soul away to the point where even his precious family, even his wife, Kat, even his parents, even his cat weren't off limits for me. I could say whatever the fuck I wanted, and Phil would lay down like a pig in the fucking mud.
Yeah, because he was making money from you. As long as he was making money, he was okay with anything you said.
The only thing he cares about is money, and he gave it all up, and he doesn't have a fucking leg to stand on. Much like how the final boss, The Rock, took John Cena's soul last week, I took Phil's soul throughout this entire arc, and he's left with nothing. He associated with racism. He shilled for Donald Trump. You know what I mean? He said deplorable, toxic thing about women, calling Lex a slut
and a
erasure, and he was jealous and bitter of losing his money to her. All of the things he talks about, how he's not toxic. He is 100% toxic.
Only positive content.
The thing is, this guy wants to be a bully. This guy wants to be a drama streamer. He wants to be able to deliver the promo like I do. That's why he looks up to me as a father figure. That's why he looks up to me as an idol.
Well, you're very talented. You have all the talent he wishes he had.
I'm capable of doing the things that Phil wishes he could do. He looks at me and he goes, oh, there's a guy who can fight my battles for me, and I can hide behind his skirt, and I can do drama with the safety net, and there'll be no consequences. Well, Phil, the consequences are coming now, Phil. The consequences are on their way, Phil. Everything that you've sowed for the last 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, however long it's been of the casino arc, you are now going to sow. All of the old viewers that you alienated by trying to pander to my audience, which you could never have because you're not talented enough, intelligent enough, charismatic enough to entertain an audience as intelligent enough as the one that I have and Steve has. Phil, our audience is going to leave.
They're all going to leave him.
Have already left.
Banish him, Pete. Banish him from the Kenoverse. Banish him from the Kenoverse.
He banished himself by being a fucking bitch. He banished himself by being unable to play with the big boys. He couldn't play a big boy game. It hurt his fucking feelings to do the things that were necessary to attract attention and entertain people in this sphere. The thing is, Phil takes this stuff way too seriously. Way too seriously. He takes himself way too fucking seriously. He has the thinnest skin of anybody I've ever worked with. He's a total fucking diva. He can't handle being the nail. He wants to be the hammer, but he doesn't have the fucking balls to be either the hammer or the nail.
Or the talent. He just doesn't have it.
What's fucked up about Phil is he's just a castrated bitch. Phil is so afraid of being critiqued, of being controversial, of drawing negative attention, that he makes himself a completely neutered, milquetoast, boring, horrible presenter. At least when he was the king of hate and he was saying crass and crude and villainous heel things, at least there was something interesting to that. And I pleaded with him to go to the sort of character that's like that doesn't give a fuck what they have to say, doesn't care what people think of them, because I said to Phil,
you try to help him.
Phil, everybody hates you anyway. Nobody likes you. There's a handful of special needs people.
Morons. He's got a few morons that like him.
A lot of them are legitimately on like disability. A lot of them are legitimately in wheelchairs. People who would be entertained by Blue's Clues or fucking
they
Dora
like
the
Phil.
Explorer.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of bland, milk toast, no edges, sanitized garbage that Phil peddles. It's just full on slop. And it's slop that he delivers every single day. There's no effort
It's
that
slop.
goes into
It's
anything
I could say it.
Phil
I'm a
does.
content creator. He makes slop. His stuff is so. It's just you use the term like low energy, low effort. That's what I get when I look at Phil's content. I go like he's not even trying to make something good or entertaining.
No.
And just so you're aware, I sent him an invitation to this show, and then I said, or invite us on Smart Guys or at least PPP. So he's gonna be a big man and like talk shit, but he doesn't want to confront you to your face like a man. So I'm giving him an opportunity to come right here, and you guys can talk it out. I'll try to referee it, or he can bring you to the Smart Guys and say this shit to your face.
We know right well he never will, because he's a pussy. He doesn't want confrontation. And this is, so we go back to the interview that you were supposed to do with Phil. If we told Phil that in any way this interview would be hostile or confrontational or aggressive, he would have never agreed to do it. Because he's a pussy and he's a bitch, and he runs from confrontation. He runs from criticism because the lies that he tells are like the lies of a child. Any adult that's worth their salt,
see right through it,
that has any sort of critical thinking skills, knows that he's lying and can effortlessly dismantle his lies in real time. And unless he's just talking to himself, it becomes readily apparent that he's just a fucking clown, that he's just a fucking joke, that the emperor has no fucking clothes. Every single time he exits that hug box that he lives in 24/7, 365, it's the hug box. It's a fantasy land where it's basically like North Korea, where any sort of dissent is banned. And Phil cries about Raw Phil. He cries about the restreamers. He cries and he cries about the stream snipers. But Phil, had you not turned your own chat into a North Korea hug box, there would still be 1,000 people there today watching. If you had allowed them to make fun of you in chat, to send in troll super chats that you reacted to, that were milked for reactions, instead of shutting everything down like a big little bitch, you would be doing far better today. Phil wants to make himself out to be the victim over and over and over again. He cries and he cries. The detractors did this to me. Tevin did this to me. Duty did this to me. Steve did this to me. But guess what, Phil? Every single thing that you have done that has happened to you has been the consequence of your own actions. Where you are at now is a direct result of what you have done in the past, what you are currently doing, and what you are going to do in the future. You have control over your own behavior, Phil, and you have to accept responsibility and accountability for your own consequences. But what the detractors and what me and you and anybody who's critical of him allow him to do is scapegoat everything to a boogeyman. It's never his fault. It's always somebody else's fault. If it wasn't for the dastardly, dirty trolls, he would be a millionaire. He would be so successful. But
he made millions. He squandered it living a millionaire's lifestyle, on other people's money. That's the big issue.
Thing is, Phil needs people like me. He needs people like me that he can point the finger to, and he can say, that's the bad guy. He can point at Duty. He can point at Tevin and say, that's the bad guy. That's the one responsible for all my problems. But Phil, does that make you good? No, Phil. You're just weak.
Yeah, he's too weak to rise above.
You're a cockroach that makes yourself into a fucking victim. Instead of being a man and rising up and actually victimizing and winning and bending reality to your will, you choose to lay down in the fetal position and die on an island alone like a little bitch, crying about all of your fucking problems. Well, nobody gives a fuck about your problems. Do you know what a baby does? It fucking cries because it has no other recourse, Phil. It needs somebody to change its diaper for it. But you're a 42-year-old man, and you should have developed better coping skills than fucking crying. But this is a guy who honestly is mentally not well. He is arrested development. I'm not sure he ever advanced past juvenile mindset of like 14, 15 years old.
I was going to say 12.
You know what I mean? Like, he thinks that women's periods are icky. This is supposedly a mature married man that when he sees a tampon ad, he's like, ooh, gross. Strange stuff. Strange stuff from a supposed mature adult man there. I mean, it's just the reality. This is a guy who cries in his mid-30s or late 30s about how his parents didn't buy him a Wolverine toy
I know.
when he
Yeah.
was a
It's
boy.
tragic. It's
The
tragic.
tragedy, I didn't get the
I didn't get the
Wolverine
toy that I
Those
wanted.
stupid parents should have bought it for me. He's so entitled. He's so entitled. He thinks that the whole world owes him a living. And what's crazy is it's the world, the weird Skinner box that he's plugged himself into has validated that worldview. That worldview has never been challenged because people literally do hand him a living on a silver platter.
You're right, but I think that's going to change now. Don't you think that his income is going to take a huge hit from doing this? Because the Kino people are never going to donate to him again.
It is a slow, ever sinking ship.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
There always seems to come another whale to save Phil, another whale to save Phil.
You better start praying tonight.
He seems to get bailed out. But Phil, one day, it might be soon, it might be a long ways away, but one day there won't be any more whales because your show will be so boring, so toxic, so lame, hosted by a 50, 60-year-old man pretending to be a pro gamer. That no one will care. And the thing that's
got fourth place or something once.
Oh my God. The God's honest truth is that Phil needs the detractors. He needs the detractors to stay relevant. He needs the detractors because he needs someone to blame so that he can be the victim, so that he can escape accountability for his own actions. And what we saw today was the same thing. Oh, PPP victimized me. PPP did me wrong. Oh. And it's just fucking sad. Phil is a liar. He lies all the time. All the time. And the lies never, ever, ever, ever end. And it just starts to get exhausting. It just starts to get exhausting.
Yeah, we talked. He's very needy. He's just so needy. You got to hold him by his hand and do everything for him. And like if you had come to me with an idea for a show, given your success with everything else you've done, I would have just said, yeah, like, let's try it. Let's do it. Like the fact that you have to twist his arm to get him to do anything. And then he said no to every idea or concept that you brought to him. He said no to the lie detector thing that would have been huge.
And the thing is, the guy doesn't stick to anything. He has no perseverance. He expects immediate, instant gratification
and money.
Well, he expects it to immediately be a massive financial success and to always be a financial success. But that's not how things work.
No, you got to grind. You got to be willing to grind.
You have to build. You have to go out and find new audiences. You can't just rely on the same 2 or 3 guys forever. But he's trapped because he feels like he has to pander and bow down to those 2 or 3 people. And he can never experiment. He can never do anything new. And he's scared and he's neurotic and he's autistic. He's stuck in his schedule. He's stuck in his ways, and there's just no way to free him from it. He's a hermit who lives in his house 24/7, do the groceries, but he's a totally functional, normal human being. Right.
Yeah, I don't understand how it takes 4 hours. I shop like a man.
It takes him an hour to do.
I run through that place like a maniac.
He never fucking wrote down a list in life. I don't know. He has to chop the vegetables when he gets home and this and that. But he's a sad hermit because he's scared of confrontation. He would never, ever stand up for his wife in public. If somebody slapped his wife's ass at the bar, he would do fucking nothing. He would probably watch as his wife gets fucked in the alleyway by a black bull. Let's be fucking real. This guy, that's why he doesn't go outside. He's
afraid his wife's going to get banged by a black dude? What?
He got down on his fucking knees at the Street Fighter tournament and begged this guy not to whoop his fucking ass. And tears came from his eyes and he said he was a fucking alcoholic. And then we wonder why he won't bring me on to confront him tonight. It's because he's scared. It's because he's spineless. It's because he's a cockroach. He's a fucking worm. And he's afraid of anybody that is any sort of a man, that has any sort of a masculine presence. He doesn't know how to behave in a friend group or a setting because this guy has never had any friends. Let's be real. It was always super awkward when we brought him on with me and Andy because he's never been a part of a male friend group. And he views anybody who is his friend as a means to an end. It's not somebody that he genuinely cares about. To him, people are tools. John Rambo was a tool. Howard was a tool to him.
You use everybody, yeah.
I was a tool to him as well. He didn't genuinely care about me or anything. By the way, this guy, I was so desperate to get him out of the house, And I'll just be open and honest about this. And a lot of people will judge me for what I'm about to say. But I offered to pay this guy's flight and his wife's flight to Florida for the Super Bowl so that we could hang out in Florida. We were all going to fly down together. I offered to pay for the pet sitter for his pets. I offered to pay for his wife's ticket, his ticket, give them 2-3 days alone so they could have the honeymoon they never fucking had.
Wow. See, that's a friend.
He turned it down because he had to take care of his cat.
He couldn't leave the cat with a stranger, P. Come on.
It would be a traumatic experience for him. And
I'm just putting this out there, just letting you know, my kids really want to go to Disneyland, you know. I'm just saying.
And if we went into the DMs, I have receipts of all of that. I pleaded with him. Every excuse that he ever made, every objection.
Yeah, and you just wanted to get him out of the house and do something nice for him as a friend. Like, here, I'll pay for your honeymoon that you never gave your wife.
Because
you're a good guy, Pete.
I want him to get out of the house. He has to get out of that house. And it's not like I'm a guy who every day I'm out there touching grass and I'm, like I'm a pale, fat man. But I leave the house a hell of a lot more than he does.
That's pretty sad.
And I have friends, I have family that I'm around, that I interact with.
Yeah, you got to socialize as a human.
He has no family out there. He's stranded on the West Coast. He's told me he has no friends. He's been out there for almost a decade.
Well, no wonder he has no friends. Look what you tried to be a friend to him, and look what he did. Look what he did. He took and took and took. And I get the impression that he was feeling like he didn't want to do another one of those Grill Phil segments like you gave him last week. But that was for those that don't know too. Like, that was not P being like nasty. When you're a true friend will tell you things you don't want to hear because you need to hear it. You try to be a true friend to him and help him and say the things that a real friend would say. A real friend will check you when you need to be checked.
This is what it comes down to for Phil, is that I don't think he has received like real criticism from somebody that he actually can respect and trust, because he's like, well, these are detractors, these are trolls. How do I know what criticism is real, what I need to actually improve? I understand that. And so I gave him the advice that I think would actually turn his life around. Go out more with his wife, take more time off from shows. Ultimately, the guy is doing 8 hours of streaming 6 days a week, never goes out with his wife, never does anything fun. He's a total shut-in, total hermit, no friends, and it's just no way to live. And he lives in fear. He lives in fear of the world. And
he's got all those cameras around his house. That's paranoid, delusional. The police called him a 220. Like, he's a mental case.
Well, he is a mental case, and now generally he's kind of almost a harmless mental case. And this is why it's like I kind of wanted to help the guy, because I feel like generally he's not the most evil, malignant scumbag on earth, at least at first impression. But
yeah, he can come off as a little bit likable.
Well, I don't know if he's likable or charismatic. I'm saying he's not like a revenge pornographer like Ralph. He's not like a wife beater that we know of. He's not
he's
not like a pedophile or a rapist. Like this is a very low bar I'm setting. And so I don't understand why everybody hates this guy so much. Yes, he begs. Yes, the begging is annoying. It's exhausting. It's ridiculous. But there's a lot of people with goals nowadays. There's a lot of people e-begging. There's no real way to explain why Phil is such a deplorable and detestable person. You must actually experience it firsthand. And I experienced it firsthand. When you watch his show every day and you keep up with the vortex and the people that are in it and the way that he interacts with it, only truly then can you actually know why he's such a deplorable piece of shit that deserves to die. Only then can you really know. Because why do people want this guy to die? I don't get it. Well, in the last couple of weeks, it finally really was driven home to me as to why motherfuckers hate this guy. Because he just never, ever, ever will change his ways. He's ungrateful for everything he gets. He's negative. He's pessimistic. He's draining. He's soulless. He doesn't care. All he cares about is getting a paycheck and protecting his fragile, narcissistic ego. And that's it. And he doesn't care about friends. He doesn't care about family. He doesn't care about having ambitions or goals outside of money. And the money that he does have, he doesn't use it to travel the world. He doesn't use it to go to cool things. He doesn't use it to collect cool antiques or, anything.
No, he buys wrestling cards and plays a wrestling game.
Not even real wrestling cards. Now, that's recent. He started buying the real wrestling cards. He buys digital JPEGs of sweaty
men. That's pretty gay. I think that's pretty gay.
That's what Phil does, and that's what gives him joy in life.
You reminded me of this
hollow existence.
You reminded me of this. Speaking of this is how he treats his audience sometimes. And I didn't want to play this before because of all the F bombs in it, but we've already gone way past the F bomb
Yeah.
limit on YouTube. So
fuck, idiot, dumb fucking meme. Take your meme and shove it up your fucking ass. Factually fucking based. Fucking facts, daily fucking basis. Shut the fuck up. I'm not taking your shit for who the fuck it is. There's people in the chat right now. Oh, he's doing a meme. Oh, this is crazy.
I'm
Shut
sorry.
the fuck up and eat it.
You want me to pause it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, is this not toxicity? Like, is this?
No, this is positive content.
This is positive, mature content. Why can't he just be honest? Why can't he just be honest that he's a piece of shit?
Just embrace your shittiness. Yes.
That's what I've told him to do, because obviously he's never going to become a good person or a positive person or a role model or anybody to admire.
Yeah.
But he could be a really annoying, horrible, awful piece of shit that everybody hates. And then when he gets
be the heel. Embrace the heel.
Celebrates. Well, like he told me that he can't become a heel because of his wife's health issues. And, I pleaded with him.
What does that have to do with it?
Because, listen, I'm not going to get into everything with Phil. Phil can decide how far he wants this shit to go. I don't know. Should I just go full bore and just,
you should just drop it? Yeah,
and just go in on his wife's fucking medical condition?
Fuck him, P. He fucked you. Fuck him right back. Fuck him right back.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
But, he's concerned that his wife is going to die and she's becoming more religious. And so Phil feels like he needs to be more religious, and so he can't be a heel. And I just feel like I feel like that's fucking nonsense, because he actually is just an evil, horrible piece of shit all the time anyway. And he's not religious whatsoever.
You should embrace
and I
the
just
heel.
feel like it's a total excuse because he doesn't want to actually have to deal with people dunking on him. And so he hides away from controversy and conflict. And I don't know, man. I just don't have any respect for Phil. I just don't. The only thing that I have any respect for him for is that he does show up 6 days a week, 10 hours a day.
Begging
his fucking tin cup. Like that's what he does. And I've just been trying to help this motherfucker. He lays these pity parties on me. He lays all of these secrets on me. And then it's like, well, how can you fucking, snake this guy? How can you turn on this guy when he has all of these problems in his life?
He seems very manipulative. Like he's trying to manipulate you into not being real with him.
Yeah, it's full on manipulation. It's pignosis to try and stop me from bursting his echo chamber and making him confront like the cognitive dissonance in his life. And so it's just this sad coping mechanism where he tells me stuff. I don't know if it's true or if it's not, because he lies so often, even when he swears up and down. And I remember him swearing to me up and down that, what's his name? The Game Box guy,
TJ
Gamebox, who does the calculations. No. His calculations are wrong, because at my high whale level, they offer me these special deals and these special points. So it's not actually the $1,500 this week he said it was. It was only like $200. And then I go to Gamebox and I say, is this the case? And he explains to me in great detail with receipts, no, he lied. And he swore up and down to me, no, I'm really. I said, really, Phil? You're telling me
even spending $200 a week on a children's wrestling game is ridiculous. $200 a week, and I just
it just kind of made sense. So
Pete, I want to mention, like, I listened to you about doing the Dark Side Phil interviewing content. We have 2,500 or almost 3,000 live viewers across all the platforms. Almost 3,000 live viewers right now. He's got 114 for his solo Smart Guys. 114 people. So maybe he should have been listening to you, like I listen to you. 3,000 live viewers. He won't listen.
Listen, and I'm not saying I'm some grand guru or some.
But you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like if you put some sort of preparation into the shows that you do, and you do shows when you actually have something to say, when you actually have a take about something or real critiques, then that's a show. But Phil believes a show is eating pizza. Like, it's not really a show. Phil believes a show is eating Girl Guide cookies or, playing the same Call of Duty or Street Fighter game poorly over and over and over again with barely any commentary other than crying, And I just don't know if that's really content other than for people who don't like him or people who are genuinely disabled and mentally slow.
Yeah, and he's up to 150 live viewers. But he's playing that, he started at 9:50 playing the 20 minutes of music or whatever. He still hasn't come on screen. But still.
And this is another thing with him is that he doesn't value the audience's time. Darkside Phil will do his tech support and setting up his stream on stream for hours.
He worked on his camera for a while today because it wasn't working. He'll get up and unplug my camera and plug it back in. Wait a minute. Yeah.
It's like you have just no respect for anybody's time. And he has no respect for anybody's boundary. He's constantly snorting, clearing his throat.
That's why they call him a pig.
Belching. But what's funny is when he would come on Kino Casino, he wouldn't do
that. Yes.
Magically, the snorting and the coughing.
Oh, here we go. He started.
And the throat clearing went away. Well, let's have a look at what Phil has to say.
And as you can see, I seem to have some space to move for once. It's like a revelation. Like I've been freed and I can actually like take a breath and stretch. It's kind of weird. It's almost like something's changed around here. I'm not sure exactly what it could be, but
go in, Phil.
Here we are.
Be a man.
On the road to WrestleMania tonight for the first time ever on this show.
He's going to ignore it.
I will be covering both Monday Night Raw as usual.
He seems pretty low energy.
Friday Night SmackDown for the very first time. And as you can see, we have a few changes to discuss tonight in format and about the future of the show.
Ever.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, you may notice that my former co-host ain't here, nor will he be ever again. Because today I took the shovel and I shoveled the shit.
Oh, did you, Phil?
You might say I wonder what happened. All right, allow me to explain in a nutshell, because I kind of gave a full explanation on my podcast.
I was going to retread the same shit again. Here
this guy was backstabbing me for a while, treating me like dirt,
by telling him the truth
actually bringing up my family members, i.e. my
Not
wife.
his family.
Content.
He brings up every day, by the way, like 10 or 15 times.
Apologized for it, and then he continued to do it. And that's the end of it for me.
Why didn't you say anything to me, Phil? Why didn't you say anything to my face and stand up for your wife?
In content, that's one thing.
You're a pussy.
If you're going to talk crap about my family members that literally have nothing to do with any of the content I'm making on the internet, because you
by the way, these were like one or two asides.
Guy, or you get
one or two times I've heard you do it.
Like asides on my show. It's not like I did what I did at the top of the show and exposed like his dirty kidnapping scheme for what it is, where he like controls her with evil mind control tactics, isolating her from her family like he did to Panda, fattening her up to lower her self-esteem. These are the dirty, evil tactics and I never said any of that stuff, and I could have.
Well, you're saying it now. Let's see what else he has to say.
More power to you. I can't stop you, but I sure as hell don't have to have your ass in my content. And as you can see, today, the air
is bad.
Clear. Ooh, it used to be like this in here.
I know, there used to be
someone
entertainment.
actually opened the window.
And
now, tonight, for the first
time
on
a whole
the show,
185 people.
We can focus on pro wrestling. If you didn't
yeah,
notice,
like
over
that's
the course
what
of the
people
last
want. What he didn't
2 months that I've been doing
and that's what's crazy is this shit wasn't even snake shit. Because I would directly say on my show, and he must have seen it. People must have clipped it and sent it to him because I know they did. I said, this is a show that's not about wrestling. It's a show about fucking Phil.
Yeah,
you know?
What a moron.
Phil.
What a moron. Well, and again, I hate to keep pushing this point, but we have 3,000 live viewers, and he has 185. So who wins here? You won. Like, nobody cares what he has to say, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody who actually does care about Phil's opinions on wrestling, which he, as we'll see here, he probably doesn't have very many. He doesn't really have opinions about anything. He doesn't. This is the thing that drives me.
Yeah, he would just mirror yours when I heard him.
Here's why I chose to do the wrestling show with Phil. Aside from that, it was a Trojan horse to fuck with him and humiliate him and shit like that.
Oh, no.
I chose it because it was something that I thought he would actually be passionate about. Because it seems to me he's not actually passionate about anything. The only time I've ever seen him be passionate is when he's playing WWE Champions on live stream. Then he knew everything about the game. He was excited to play. He was smiling. He was happy. He was in his element. And so he was a lifelong fan of wrestling. I figure, okay, this is something
that he really likes. He'll be excited
to talk about, and it could be a good show. But he never really got that excited about it. He never really grew into his own. He did a little bit better after the first couple weeks, but he was still shit. And so it's like, you're not passionate about anything. And I don't know how somebody like sleepwalks like a zombie through life like this, where they have no real passions, they have no real interests. Every minute, every hour of his day is accounted for and can be tracked on a spreadsheet. And he tells us everything that he does within a week. And it's very pathetic, and it's a very sad existence that he has. And he's miserable, and he's depressed. And it's why he's an alcoholic, and he's neurotic, and he's crazy like he is because of the lifestyle that he leads.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some more of this, or?
Yeah, why not?
Well, I'll hear some more.
Smart guys and revived this series, which originally was my pro wrestling commentary series over a decade ago.
Oh my god.
This show has
Yeah,
constantly
and it sucked when he did it
derailed
without you.
towards the side of drama.
It's always
Essentially, PPP wanted to turn this not only into a wrestling show, but also
into
a
something
high-end,
entertaining.
Yeah, God forbid.
I
Something
don't
high
know,
end.
money-making show.
Money
So
making
half
show.
the show
What? He doesn't
What?
want to
And
make
he's like,
money.
he doesn't want to have a money-making show. When he's gonna cry about how poor he is. God, heaven forbid PPP wanted to create a successful business venture that people might want to donate
want to
to,
donate
watch,
to, yeah.
instead of some boring fucking show talking about John Cena's jockstrap for 3 hours and fucking how women's wrestling sucks. You know, that only appeals to a slight niche of people. I might have wanted to expand it a little bit broader and reach out to the largest demographic of people that watch Phil, the detractors, and see if there might be interest and buzz around Phil, which might cause a new whale to come in. And I explained this business model to Phil of how this makes more sense because there's more buzz, there's more excitement, there's more interest around the people who are already invested in you. And so therefore other people might be attracted by that, and you might have some success. Like, this isn't crazy rocket science.
Oh, we'll see what else he says.
And he talked about the 3 paths. Let's talk about the 3 paths. Did you see this shit?
Yeah, he's got 3 paths.
And this
2 would be successful, and 1 is stay on your current failure course. Which one do you think he chooses?
Here's what I was gonna like. I was genuinely going to apologize to him and not say anything bad about his wife until I heard him talk about these 3 paths. And they're just nonsense. He talks about, well, the first path is to become a shill and accept all of these sponsorships and never be critical about these products. And it's like, bitch, Phil, you couldn't get a fucking sponsorship if your life depended on it. He tries to pretend it's because he's this moral person, this upstanding little guy that would never take a corporate sponsorship because he doesn't.
Yeah, it's better to just beg every 2 minutes.
It's better to
right?
beg your audience on your fucking hands and knees constantly than do that. So it's just delusional that he could even go that path because of the detractors and the toxicity and all the shit that he created for himself. Phil, there is a reason why things are the way they are, bud. Some of it's unfair, but a lot of it is warranted. Then it's like, okay, the second path would be to become the king of hate again. And I'm going to leave bodies in my path and people broken and show I'm the big dog on the yard. And it's like, Phil, these are delusions of grandeur. This is narcissism. This is, listen, I could have been successful if I wanted to, but I choose not to be. Phil, you couldn't do drama like that ever. Every
he doesn't have the talent.
Every single person that you went up against, you're not able to roast anybody. Your insults are lame. They're juvenile from the 3rd fucking grade. None of it hits home. You know, we don't believe your promos because you don't believe in yourself because you're a pathetic worm of a person. And so the second path wasn't viable. It's not realistic either, Phil. So then Phil's like, well, my only path then is to just beg and do the same shit I've done for years. I'm going to beg and cry, and I'm going to have to do the same thing forever. And it's like, Phil, there was another path, which was to, do content with me and trust my
vision.
To
P. Yeah, listen to P, and you'll make money.
And, like, broaden your horizons and try doing stuff with Steve, try doing stuff with me, with Andy, with all sorts of other creators that I wanted to bring in. But no, you're just stubborn, and you're a fucking idiot. And
he is a moron for not listening to you.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And so when I heard this bullshit about the 3 paths and like this going back to his old ways and not wanting to change,
take the loser road. Take the loser road.
Said, fuck this shit. I can't pretend for this guy anymore. I can't fucking I can't lie to myself that I think this is a good guy or a guy that might change. I come from sales, and in sales, the motto we had at the company, anything that you can conceive and believe, you can achieve. If you can put together the plan on how to conceive and how to do it, and you can believe in it and work that plan, then you can achieve anything. And there's a lot of things
good attitude
that I was able to do with Dark Side Phil that nobody thought would be possible, but I had belief that it could be done. But eventually, recently, my belief went away. So I could conceive how it was possible, but I could no longer believe that it was so, and so it could no longer be achieved, and so I am cutting my losses, and I'm going to get a return on my investment by now fucking with Phil until I feel like I get my fucking money and time back.
Yeah,
I never really will, but
yeah, exactly. Well, you're always welcome here, and the super chats are still flying in furiously. I guarantee you're going to make more money tonight than you would have made on Smart Guys. That I could tell already.
Well,
Just
I mean, I'm
looking
probably
through it.
just gonna let you keep it all, to be honest.
Oh, that's very nice of you, but
you
I
know,
said I
like,
was going to give half of it to
well,
you.
we'll say we're doing half just to felt Phil, right?
Well, that's very kind of you. He's already bought me a 4-wheel drive truck. Maybe he could
Let's
buy me
go!
a motorcycle too. You know, I could use a
Let's
motorcycle. Yeah.
go! Let's get some support for Steve. Steve's a
Yeah.
fucking king. He's a legend. And the thing is, I would never say anything bad about Steve's wife. Do you want to know why? Because I actually like and respect Steve.
Well, it helps that she's thin and hot too.
Well,
so.
exactly. Steve's wife's a hotties.